Hey parents, Pastor Laine here with another Fearless Family 5 minutes of encouragement for today. Today's encouragement is really a tool to teach your kids how to think of others. Real quick question. Don't you hate it when you're right in the middle of a conversation and one of your children comes in and rudely interrupts you? You may even try to ignore them, but there's just really no quit in them. It's like they got a full tank of whining and pant tugging and tears streaming and blood curdling screams, whatever it takes to get your attention. Or it may be like a scene from the Family Guy, Stewie. He's got an endless cadence of mom, mom, mommy, mother, mama, mama, mom, mom, mom. Until you finally just break, right? Or maybe you may be just like Laura and I were with our kids. We'd be right in the middle of a conversation with one of our friends, and they could be in mid-sentence, and one of our kids would come in and interrupt, and we would immediately turn to tend to their needs. What's fascinating about this is that we don't even really give it a second thought. We just expect everyone in the room to just understand that our kid's the most important person in the world, and we should tend to their needs whenever they need them met. Some of y'all may be like my wife, Laura. She has this supernatural, really and truly. She's got a spidey sense. She could turn away from a conversation before a child even gets into the room, just anticipating him coming. Some of y'all know exactly what I'm talking about. Let's think about this for a second. What message are we delivering to the person that we were talking with? More importantly, could we possibly be reinforcing the idea that the world actually does revolve around our kids? See, the reason our kids behave the way that they do is because we've trained them to do so. Do you know why your kids rudely interrupt you when you're having a conversation? It's because it works, like a champ, all the time. Well, parents, we've got this great tool to help curb this behavior with your kids and really teach them the preciousness of others, as well as how to respect and honor those people that are in the room that we're talking with. And it's called the interrupt rule. And it's really simple. It's teaching your kids to quietly, keyword there, quietly, place their hand on your arm or on your shoulder, little ones maybe on your leg, and wait for you to finish your conversation before you tend to their needs. So you may be saying, okay, Laine, that sounds good in theory. It's good on paper, but you just described my home to a T. How am I supposed to put this in practice? Well, I've got a real quick 5 pro tip tools for parenting in this area. Pro tip number 1, practice it at home. Parents, don't wait for the first time for you to try this to be out in public somewhere. Practice it at home. Your kids aren't going to get it the first time you teach them, especially if we don't expect the standard on a consistent basis. Number 2, make it fun. Guys, this shouldn't be a punitive thing for your kids. Make a game of it. Teach them how it works, and then send them away and say, okay, mom and daddy are going to be talking. You come back and interrupt us and use the interrupt rule that we showed you, and do it over and over and over again. Make it fun. That leads us to pro tip number 3, give the moral reason why. Because parents, without it, your instruction is only for today. They have nothing locked in on the inside as to why they should behave that way in the future. So what is that moral reason why? Really simple. It's teaching your kids the preciousness of others. And that leads us to pro tip number 4, back it up with scripture. 4 little words. Love is not rude. It comes from 1 Corinthians 13:5. Very simple. You can teach all of your kids that very simple thing. And finally, be consistent. Be consistent. Once you start this, don't go back. You're just going to confuse your child. Once you start it, expect that every single time. You may have to remind them several times, especially in the beginnings. You know, whenever Laura and I had our kids and we taught them this, There were going to be times that they forgot and they would come in and interrupt. And whenever, our little one would do it, we would just really simple, just take their hand and put it on her leg. And most of the time they would get it. We may even have to say, the first time or two, remember the interrupt rule. But when our older one, he knew, he just forgot. So we just ignored him and we just kept talking, and we never lost that eye contact with each other. Most of the time he would get it, but every now and then he'd just keep talking or whatever. And I think maybe once or twice we had to say, do you hear something? I think I hear Hayden. Surely he's not interrupting us, because he knows the interrupt rule. And it doesn't take long, because it'll register on his face real quick, and real quick the hand would go on our arm. So parents, this is just one of the tools that we'll be covering in an upcoming parenting class that we have. I'm not sure if we're going to do it in the fall or start up again in January. But guys, this is a fantastic parenting class. It's a ministry Laura and I've been involved with for over 20 years, and we are so excited to bring it to Dayton, Ohio and Fearless Church. Until then, this is Pastor Laine signing off for another Fearless Family 5. Remember, love is not rude.